All right, good afternoon. So hopefully you got a start last time on creating some of your arguments for your case. Um, for those of you who are maybe a little bit less familiar with putting together evidence or cutting cards, as we say in the fall, I'm going to give you a little bit of a walkthrough of how to do that. So what I've already done is I have gone to this template and I went to File, Make a Copy. Okay, I made my copy. I renamed it. That's right here. I called it Bear Pro PFD Final. Should make it really easy for me to find it later on. And I'm not really concerned yet about this first page. What I want to do now is start to put together some of my arguments. So I've gone into this document, which you no doubt have looked at before. And I've scrolled down to page 6 where I start to find my research guide. And I went ahead, well, first I tried to go to this article, which does not seem to be up. That's okay. I went ahead and clicked on this second link, the H-1B visa program, a primer on the program and its impacts on jobs, wages, and the economy. Why don't you take a moment before continuing with this video to open that document up? And if you want to scroll down to this understanding the important role the H-1B workers play in our economy section that talks about wages and employment rate, take a moment to look at that. We will be here when you come back. You can just skim it. Okay, so I've taken a close look at this evidence. I know that one of the big arguments against bringing in any kind of foreign-born workers is that this is going to push Americans out of the labor force, that kind of they took our jobs type argument. So this evidence is great because it actually says, no, it's the opposite. So we're gonna cut a card here. Maybe. All right, now I'm going to grab a lot of stuff. Maybe more than I'm going to end up using. That's okay. All right. Now that's my evidence. So I'm going to go ahead and just paste that in there. I know it's a lot. Oh my goodness. But I have to do some formatting and deleting things. It'll be all right. All right, I am actually going to pause this video really quickly just to speed this up, mostly because I have a limited amount of time that this thing will let me show you a video. Okay, I did a little bit of my work, but I want you to watch me go through some of this process too. So if you read this evidence, then you notice that you can kind of split it up into two parts. First, the first part of the evidence tells you that wages of U.S. workers improve as a result of having H-1B visas. And the second part talks about how it also creates jobs. So I know that's the argument that I'm making, and you kind of see down here where I have highlighted some of the words that I'm actually going to say in my speech. We'll talk about that more in a second. I'm going to go up to the top here first. Okay, so we're going to call this contention 1 for now. I might decide to move it around later. And I'm just going to start with what my argument is. So my claim is that H-1B visas increase wages and job opportunities for US-born workers. Awesome. Since I'm going to read this, I want it to kind of stand out. You might highlight it. I like to bold my claims. Okay, then it says the evidence to support this is warrants. Well, that's not really, doesn't sound great. I should probably say where I got this information from. So guess what I'm going to use? I'm going to use the EasyBib. And don't think I actually needed to create a new tab because I have the extension. You might not have the extension, then you just want to go to EasyBib, search it on your Google browser. Pretty simple. Okay. Let's see here. I think I've done something wrong. All right, I don't know what my problem was. I'm going to click on this again. Site on EasyBib. Hey, it worked. Create my citation. Oh my gosh. All right, I'll pause it while I watch an ad. All right, great. Now I have a nice citation. Okay, I'm going to copy that. And instead of saying the evidence to support this is warrants, I drop my citation on there. Now, what is important to mention here, what gives me authority, is where this information comes from, the American Immigration Council. I don't need to give you the name of the article. If you really want to know, you can ask me during cross-examination, and I've got it here for you. The other thing that's important is that this is relatively recent information. It's from April of this year. So I'm going to include that as well, and I would read that when I actually read this evidence. All right, now I'm just going to clean this up a little bit. All right, cool. This looks pretty good. I need to give this argument a suitable title, like wages and employment. I don't know, maybe I'll end up calling this U.S. workers. We'll see what my other arguments are. I might decide to word that differently. This is okay for right now. All right, I don't love how all of this copy and paste formatting worked, but I can clean a lot of that up. It doesn't really matter how it looks. I've highlighted the parts that I'm actually going to read. Okay. Notice that there's a bunch of stuff at the bottom here that I'm not going to talk about. It's not that important to my argument. This stuff is telling me about the salaries of H-1B workers. Maybe that's going to be important to a later argument or something that the other team says. But right now, I'm just using this evidence to talk about not the H-1B workers, but other U.S. workers and how they are affected by that program. All right, as we scroll down, we see, okay, how do H-1B workers impact U.S. employment rates? All right, so I want to highlight this as well. I will give you a moment to read this paragraph, and then we're going to highlight it down. Okay, here's what this paragraph looks like when I highlight it down. Hey, why am I highlighting this down? Well, because I only have 4 minutes to give this speech. So I want to be efficient with my evidence. All right, I have highlighted the rest of this evidence. I'm going to pause my video. You got all the time in the world to check this out for yourself. Okay, I've got a lot of cleanup to do with my formatting, but this looks pretty good as far as content goes. What's left is for me to state my impact. Here I go. And this is my first contention. Finished.